All right, welcome in. We are here for another episode of SSD Mythbusters. My name is Jeremy Worley. I'm your host here talking with attorney expert Josh Worley. Josh has been doing this for many years, over 20 years. And so what we do is we present a myth or a question to him each week. And what he does is he gives us kind of the facts and information we need to know to really steer us straight and help us clarify what's fact, what's fiction, what is a myth that's busted, and what is the truth. And so we do this one episode at a time. We just pick a topic, and today's is different. I came to you, Josh, on this one, and I said, I don't know anything about this stuff. He's our expert, but I have this question. I think a lot of people out there would have this question because we talk a lot about disabilities. We talk a lot about medical evidence needed to get on disability or getting approved. But what if someone is out there and they do have a medical condition and they have a very serious condition, but what if their medical condition, which has led to their disability, was caused by substance abuse? And let's say maybe that could be alcohol, it could be drug use, and how do those factor in for someone that maybe has an application or is out there and wondering, I do feel I'm disabled. I think I'm entitled to benefits, but this was caused by some sort of substance that I took or maybe a condition that I created through some of my behavior. How do we square that? What do you see in the law?
Sure. I'm glad to tackle this because this comes up every day in real world examples and disability claims. And so the answer to the question is that if substance abuse is what is your disability. So if you are saying I am disabled because I've got pancreatitis because I've been an alcoholic and I've had pancreatitis and I've got liver failure because of my alcohol use, then if that is the immediate cause of the disability, then you're not going to get approved for benefits. So if substance abuse is what is causing you to be disabled right now, then you're not going to get approved, okay? Now, the way to not get around this, but if you've had issues and struggles with substance abuse in the past, but yet you are now past it and you have overcome it, and you're no longer drinking or you're no longer doing any kind of drug, having any kind of drug use or anything like that, but yet you now continue to have issues with your health. So using the example of the alcoholic who's had liver failure, if they stopped drinking 5 years ago, but yet they continue to be disabled because of a health issue like liver failure, because they're past the substance abuse, but yet still disabled, then they can get approved for benefits. Okay, so the argument that we make on a pretty regular basis for our clients is that, yes, this has been something that's been in the past. Yes, this has been a struggle. However, this has come to an end. This did stop 2 years ago, or this did stop 6 years ago, but yet there continues to be ramifications from those issues, then you can get approved for benefits in those circumstances.
Josh, on something like that, it sounds like almost if the substance abuse was an issue, but they've been able to stop that, break the habit, they're no longer doing that, then whatever the condition that was caused by that, then they do have a chance of getting approved and they can go forward. Yes. The distinction is it ongoing or was this previous behavior?
That's exactly right.
How does someone go about proving that?
The main way that we prove it is through the medical records. If you've struggled with substance abuse in the past and you're done with it now, then generally you're going to be telling your doctors that you're going to be reporting. And if your records say, and your records very well may say this, they may say history of substance abuse, last use was 6 months ago, or last use was a year ago. Then in that circumstance, then that's the proof is the medical records. We kind of come back to this issue or talk about this quite a bit in disability cases. It's all about the medical records. What do they say? And are they very clear that you're past this issue, or is it? And we have issues at times where people will say, "No, I didn't. I stopped using 2 years ago." And then there's a record that says, "Oh, they used 6 months ago." Well, that's not good. That's really bad for a disability case if there's not this very clear idea that you're past that issue and past that struggle.
So that needs to be a dialogue then with a doctor, a treating physician.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And is this something that you were typically pretty transparent about in the application process? I mean, this idea, get it out there. We're not going to hide that drugs or alcohol played a role, but we're here to say that is no longer part of their condition.
That is exactly right. You must be transparent. You really, with a Social Security disability claim, when you're transparent about it, and you are very clear, yes, this happened, because it's going to be, they're going to find out. They're going to know if you've had a big substance abuse issue, then it's going to be in your records at some point. But then it can also be in your records that you're past that you're no longer doing that. That's no longer an issue. So it's, yeah, that is absolutely a dialogue with your doctors.
Okay. That is helpful for me. And I think that's something that's going to help a lot of people out there know, because some may be saying, I would never consider it because I caused this. I had a season of my life where I was engaged in that activity. But to know, I think it's encouraging for some to know I've turned my life around. There are consequences that I've dealt with medically because of that, but that doesn't have to be a barrier to ultimately getting approved. But I think our takeaway here is, has that ended? If that's part of your ongoing condition, it's game over. You're not going to get approved. But you've got to be able to demonstrate it's ended. And the way that, as Josh has pointed out, the way that you do that is through your medical records. That seems to be the answer for almost everything disability related. So you got to have that dialogue with your doctor. So Josh, thanks so much. Hopefully this has been helpful for a lot of people. And we've got a lot of information like this on a lot of other topics. We've done a bunch of episodes now. We're going to keep doing these. Hopefully you find this helpful. Visit us at idlawcenter.com. We are the Injury and Disability Law Center. Josh has a nationwide practice helping applicants, claimants all over the country. So if you have an issue or would like our help with your claim, give us a call. Again, idlawcenter.com. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you next time.